How old shall you be? You do not look like a scientific person for teaching of school. How old shall you be?
I am 150 years old, Your Majesty. What a thing for me to do. And I said so positively. Oh, Louis, you will have to forgive your mother. I said we'd have a home of our own, and here I brought you straight into a harem.
What does that mean, Mother?
He asked me, and I do gladly whatever he wish. It is strange he did not tell you this.
He didn't give me any answer at all. I thought that...
Then you did talk to him. And it is you he listened to. If I am not first in this place, what is left for me?
Your Majesty will forgive me. It's a matter of great importance. It's Lady Topton, Your Majesty.
Is there nothing dishonorable to me that is secret here? Mary, how shall you like if I make you watch what I shall do?
A major event in the world of motion pictures, the premiere of Anna and the King of Siam. And all Hollywood is there. Tyrone Power, Mrs. Zanuck, and producer Darryl Zanuck of 20th Century Fox. Governor Warren of California and Mrs. Warren attend the premiere, as does columnist Hedda Hopper. There are Celeste Holm and Kathy Downs, and among the Hollywood leading lights we see Burgess Meredith and Paulette Goddard. And then, among the stars, Shirley Temple and Marjorie Jackson. June Haver attends the first showing of the 20th Century Fox feature that is attracting so much attention. On the left, Rex Harrison with Mrs. Harrison. He's the star, along with Irene Dunne, in Anna and the King of Siam.
You do not look sufficient of age for scientific teaching. How many years have you?
I am 150 years old, Your Majesty.
I am 150 years old, Your Majesty.
Enough to know that age and wisdom do not necessarily go hand in hand, Your Majesty.
Her exotic memoirs have inspired a best-selling novel, a classic musical, a television series, and 4 Hollywood films. Few women have captured our imagination as much as schoolteacher and author Anna Leon Owens, with her tales of adventure in the royal court of Siam. Hired to teach English to the king's 67 children, Anna would later claim to have defied the all-powerful ruler of Siam as she fought for the freedom of his wives and concubines. But although celebrated in her lifetime, Leon Owens is now a lightning rod for controversy as modern critics question the truth of her accounts.
She believed that a person could make who they were, and she wasn't afraid to throw away almost any fact if it got in the way of who she thought she should be.
But the more we unravel the secrets of her life, the more we realize that Anna Leon Owens' true story is more amazing than fiction.
I think it's clear from all of Anna Leonowens' writings that she didn't expect to have created the kind of shudder that she did, and that she didn't expect her story to go on these 150 years.
I am king.
Yes, and I am his schoolteacher. Which lesson do you think he learned? To respect his classmates or to fear his father?
Anna Leonowens was born in the remote Indian town of Ahmednagar, near Bombay. The year was 1831, and all of India was under the domination of Britain's East India Company, the most powerful trade organization in the world.
The East India Company had its own private army, and the lower class members of the Indian Army spent their lives building and repairing roads, building barracks, marching around in little groups. They were poor, very poor.
It was into this gloomy world that Anna Harriet Emma Edwards was born on November 6, 1831, in a cramped corner of an army barracks.
Anna was raised in squalor, in poverty, in what one author has called utmost fornication. The life in the barracks in those days was very, very rough in India.
Anna would later claim that her father was an officer killed in battle. In reality, he was a simple enlisted man who died 3 months before she was born. To support the child and her 1-year-old sister Eliza, their mother Marianne had no choice but to remarry. And 2 months after Anna's birth, her part Indian, part English mother wed another enlisted soldier. As soon as Anna could walk, she was put to work cleaning the barracks. But the child had a deep curiosity about the world around her and loved to roam the streets, learning the customs of the Muslims, Sikhs, and Hindus. At the garrison school, she proved a brilliant student.
She was always curious. She's the type of Englishwoman that would go out in the midday sun, umbrella in hand, and go through the slums and take a look at what was happening. Very uncommon at that time.
Daughters of enlisted men were expected to leave school and marry at age 15. But the ambitious Anna waited until she was 18 to marry for love to a charming young army clerk named Thomas Leon Owens.
He was clearly a nobody in class terms. It definitely was a love match. I have seen his letters to her, and they are extraordinarily romantic. There is no question that they were seriously enchanted with each other.
The newlyweds struggled to escape their ignoble background and traveled across the Orient as Thomas took clerical jobs. By the late 1850s, they had settled in Penang, Malaysia, where Thomas worked in a hotel and the couple could raise their daughter, Avis, and son, Louis. Anna adored her 2 children and was passionately in love with Thomas. But in 1858, tragedy struck when her young husband died of apoplexy. Devastated, Anna was now faced with raising 2 children on her own.
Life for a single mother today is at best a difficult undertaking. And back in Victorian times, it must have been terribly difficult. Not only was she by herself, but she was also in a foreign country with no support mechanism.
Anna realized that to survive, she would need to reinvent herself. She moved to Singapore, where no one knew her, and covered up all traces of her past, transforming herself into a proper British gentlewoman.
The things that she mostly lied about were things that she was ashamed of, that at the time would have been culturally frowned upon. So she's a woman who wanted to better herself and who was really trying to survive in a man's world.
Anna now claimed that she was an officer's daughter, raised in Wales. She combined her husband's middle and last names to become Mrs. Leonowens. Her late husband was no longer the victim of apoplexy. She now claimed that he was a dashing officer who died of heat stroke after a tiger hunt. She also gave herself a new maiden name, perhaps to avoid discovery of her past in India and her family's mixed heritage.
We feel fairly confident that there is mixed blood in Anna's background, which would not have been acceptable in upper-class society at that time.
Anna completely severed ties with her family when her young niece married a man of mixed race. Those relatives would later produce another international celebrity, legendary screen actor Boris Karloff.
My father, Boris Karloff, was Anna's great-nephew, but she had very, very deliberately and completely separated herself from any of her relationships prior to her arrival in Siam. When one member of the family tried to contact Anna and establish some sort of relationship between the families, she was so upset at the invasion of her privacy, her self-created privacy, that she threatened to commit suicide if there are any further inquiries.
Armed with a new persona, the enterprising widow found a teaching job in Singapore. She became known as a gifted instructor, and in 1862, her abilities won the 31-year-old an extraordinary offer to teach English to the 67 children of Rama IV, King of Siam.
We have the first letter that the king ever wrote to Anna, and I'll read from it. Madam, we are in good pleasure and satisfaction in heart that you are in willingness to undertake the education of our beloved royal children. And we hope that you will do your best endeavor for knowledge of English language, science, and literature, and not for conversion to Christianity. We beg to invite you to our royal palace.
The thought of going near the heathen ruler and his harem of 600 women would have given most proper English women the vapors. But for the adventurous Anna, it was the opportunity of a lifetime.
Here's a very independent woman who really doesn't seem to know the meaning of fear and was willing to take on any challenge that seems to come her way.
Anna decided Siam would not be a proper place for a young girl, so she tearfully sent 7-year-old Avis to boarding school in England. Then in March of 1862, she arrived in Bangkok with 6-year-old Louis, uncertain of what was in store.
By 1862, when Anna arrived, the place was absolutely booming, and it was full of foreigners. Now, almost all these foreigners were men. They were commercial men. They were sailors. It was a really explosive world.
But upon her arrival, Anna was horrified to learn that no house was provided for her. Instead, she had been given quarters in the harem of the Prime Minister. Furious, she began campaigning for a private home. She even took her complaint to her employer, 58-year-old King Mongkut, a man worshipped and feared across Siam. But when Anna finally received an audience with the ruler, she realized he was not the savage described by her countrymen.
He was a very learned man, a monk until he was 50 years old, spoke many, many languages. He had also gone with his begging bowl, begging for alms in the countryside and really come to know the people. And he felt very strongly, once he did come to power, that Siam should remain independent. He gave away territories which have gone on to become Vietnam and Laos and Burma. And all of those countries were sort of ruined by colonizing influences, whereas Siam stayed its own place, its own people, its own language.
In addition to her teaching duties, Anna would claim to have served as secretary to King Mongkut, assisting him with English correspondence.
She respected him a great deal. She realized the challenges that he was taking on and the fact that he was trying to expand things.
The king treated Anna's son with a fatherly tenderness, giving him precious gifts. Nevertheless, Anna could not hide her outrage over Mongkut's treatment of the women in his harem, a place known to the Siamese as the Inside.
The inside was actually a walled city between 3,000 and 10,000 people, all of them women and children related to the kings, either as previous concubines or as actual relatives. And then their servants who were slaves. There was an army, there were judges, a whole world of women.
Anna taught the king's children and the women of the harem within the walls of this strange city. And as she grew to know and love her students, she became more indignant over their lack of freedom.
She really felt for their loss of choice of how they would want to live their lives, and she thought it was a very gilded cage of a prison.
Anna later wrote that she argued with the king over his treatment of his wives and concubines. 3 months after her arrival, she also convinced him to provide her with a brick home of her own. Mongkut had never met a woman as fearless or as frustrating.
I think King Mongkut found Anna annoying. I think he definitely found the fact that she was sort of running in and pleading for various of her friends distasteful and, in fact, bad manners.
Anna also taught her students principles of freedom and democracy in defiance of Siam's slavery laws. A favorite reading in her class was Harriet Beecher Stowe's abolitionist novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin.
There seems to have been a very close relationship between Anna, the teacher, and her pupils, especially the young girls in her class. And we have a letter that speaks to that point very charmingly. It's addressed to Lady Leon Owens, my dear friend and teacher. I pray to my God to be very tenderly of you and your children and bless your good work. And it's signed, your loving pupil, son Clin.
In 1867, after 5 long years away from her beloved Avis, Anna requested a leave of absence to return to England and see her daughter. The king granted Leon Owens 6 months' leave, and she sailed for England. As Anna departed, she had no idea that she would never return to Siam, and that a new chapter in her life was just beginning. In 1867, Anna Leon Owens and her son Louis arrived in England, where at long last, Anna was reunited with her daughter, Avis.
The part that I loved about the real Anna Leon Owens is that she loved children and was always surrounded by them, and that was where she took all of her passion and her learning from.
Months later, in 1868, Anna took Avis to New York for a visit, and it was there that she received shocking news from Siam. King Mongkut had organized an expedition to witness a solar eclipse, which he accurately predicted using modern astronomy. But during this moment of triumph, the king came down with malaria. Mongkut's frail body was unable to battle the disease, and the ruler of Siam died on October 1st, 1868. He was succeeded to the throne by his son, Prince Chulalongkorn, then only 15 years old.
King Chulalongkorn expanded enormously the process his father had begun of modernizing Siam. He would allow his subjects more freedom, slowly eliminating debt slavery, and he also made life a little easier for the women in his harem, giving personal permission for women to leave if they requested it.
The new king later wrote a letter of thanks to his former teacher, but he did not invite her back to Siam. King Mongkut's death was a shock to Anna, who was now in desperate need of a way to support her children. The resourceful widow turned to her own experiences and began to write about her dramatic adventure in Siam. To make her stories commercial, Leon Owens tailored them to the tastes of 1870 America, emphasizing the shocking barbarism of slavery in Siam.
It was post-Civil War United States. There was a tremendous need really for Americans to feel good about themselves again, to believe that this war that had cost so much had represented principles that had been worth fighting for, and that somehow gave them superiority in the world.
Anna's instincts proved correct. Her stories were snapped up by the Atlantic Monthly, a major feat for a new writer, especially a woman in the Victorian age.
She was providing glimpses